Alright, this is a video demo on using the drill press. We have a small drill press in this class. It's a really safe machine. Essentially the handle pulls this down. There's a drill bit right here so you can use it to drill holes in metal. The on switch is right here. As far as safety goes, you would want to wear some safety glasses. Sometimes these bits can break or metal can kind of fling off, so you just want to protect your eyes. And then the other thing is you'd want to make sure you're not wearing any like dangly jewelry, bracelets, or have your hair down anywhere that can get caught on the bit. It does spin, so with anything that's rotating at a high speed, you don't want anything that can get sucked in and kind of caught up in that bit. All right, so I'm going to demo on a couple things. So the first thing that we use this for in Jewelry 1 is the quarter. So I'm going to come down here a little bit lower and zoom in a tiny bit. I always like to mark where I plan on drilling the hole. So I'm going to drill it up there. And I just mark that with Sharpie. This does swivel. You do want to make sure you're drilling in one of these cutout spaces. So maybe for this quarter, I'll drill right here so that it's supported on both sides. You don't want to be drilling into the base, okay? So I like to line that up. The other thing that you want to make sure you're doing is applying a lot of pressure down against the base so that this doesn't get caught in the bit or want to lift up. So make sure you're pushing down and holding it really good so that it doesn't move around on you. This knob up here adjusts the speed. So I'm going to turn this on, and it can go really, really fast. I usually go kind of somewhere in the middle. Now I'm going to bring this down and make sure I'm staying lined up with my marking, and then just apply pressure downward until it cuts a hole. Afterwards, I turn it off and my piece has been pierced. You can see that the hole's been drilled through it. I'm also going to demo it on the rivet project. So here is my tab design. These spaces that have an X marked through it are interior spaces I want to cut out, so piercing. So again, I'm going to line it up, make sure I'm cutting over one of these negative spaces. And I don't really care where the hole is in there as long as it's within the space I have an X. Same thing, I'm holding this down really well and then punching through. If you have multiple, feel free to do multiple if you feel comfortable. You're also welcome to turn it off in between. Now this space right here I have marked for a hole for a rivet. I'm not going to cut that until I have both pieces cut out so I can make sure they're lined up, centered, and where I want it. So I'm going to go saw these out and I'll come back to show you how I drill out the rivet. All right, so now I'm going to show you drilling a hole for a rivet because there is something you'd want to consider. Here's my top piece, so the piece that has tabs, and this is my back plate. I still need to file and do a little bit more sawing. But once the external shapes have been cut out, I can start to drill and plan for my rivet. So I've marked on my top plate where I want the rivet to be. It's going to be hidden by the stone. So I'm going to go ahead and drill that through. You only want to saw one piece of metal at a time with this tool, so you don't want to try to drill through two at once. The next thing I'm going to do is take a fine point Sharpie, line up my top plate centered and how I want it to sit on my back plate. So I want it to sit right about there. And I'm going to mark through the top hole onto the back plate where that hole needs to be. I wouldn't want to just eyeball it and try to center on both. You physically want to line it up so that it's accurate when you set the rivet. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to drill through this. And now those holes are drilled for my rivet and it'll be lined up when I eventually actually set the rivet.